Hello, my dear viewers. Yes, it is I, Sans the Critic, back again with another creepypasta video. And it's on Halloween. Spooky, scary skeletons that shrivel up your spine. We're reading back creepypastas tonight. That song will come into one of these stories later. Now, before we begin, there's something I need to mention, that something's gonna change with the Mario creepypastas. We're now going to be going in game chronological order, and if you saw the past 3 videos, and if you're a long-time viewer of this channel, you know that the 3 games that you assume we looked at were the original Mario Bros. Game, New Super Luigi U, unfortunately, and New Super Mario Bros. 2 for some reason. So now from here on out, we have to take a look at all the other mainline games. Let's start with, not New Super Mario Bros. 2, but regular Mario Bros. 2. Enjoy. Our first story is called Mario 2. It's actually considered a bad creepypasta. Can't be worse than Ben Drowned. Man, I hate that. Let's just get started. Sadly, about a week ago, my younger brother took his own life. Our father died about a month before, and I believe that my brother was depressed without him. They were quite attached to one another after all. The day before he killed himself, he came down to my house and gave me our father's hand-me-down games and consoles. We were such gaming nerds. I loved the 3 original Mario Bros. Games. Unfortunately, I was unable to find a cartridge of the first game stuck in the giant stack of NES cartridges. However, I did come across Super Mario Bros. 2. I could tell my funny man father had printed off a label he must have made somewhere, because there were a few things different about it. For one, the title was spelled Super Mario, capital R and I and M, Bros 2, and the picture of Mario on the cover. Mario had a toad's head and was carrying Birdo's head by the bow instead of a turnip. Yeah, my father had a rather dark sense of humor. Okay, because of course he dies. I popped in the game into the NES. For nostalgia, I decided to let the game tell me the story about Mario's dream, only it reads something else. After Mario suffered a terrible fate, he decided to get revenge. He had become insane with rage, and is going to take the life of every mortal who crossed his path. That was rather disturbing. I guess my brother had hacked it somehow. He knew how. He was a huge computer nerd, because again, of course he did. I went on. The game did not give me a choice of my character. It simply told me the game is Mario, because of course it does. Who, just like on the cover of the cartridge, had a toad's head instead of his own. There was no music, and I didn't jump from the sky. I was at the beginning of World 1-1, only things were a little different. The background sky was black, and all the enemies were replaced with angry-looking toads. This was weird. Each toad angrily charged at Mario. I didn't have time to do anything, though when the toads touched Mario, they turned into skeletons and crumbled to the ground. I was uneased by this. My favorite game was this unsettling game. I guess my brother must have been very bored, and I decided to see how the rest of the game was going to turn out. Then your brother must be very rude. I reached at the end of the level where you fight Birdo. She looks as if someone got to her before me. She was bruised and bloody and had some flesh and bones. I was horrified, to say the least. A text box popped up. Please, Mario is dead. Mario stepped a little closer on his own. No, I don't, I'm not, he made another step. Why am I here? Small stop, another small stop. I'm not who you think Mario pounced her and began to ruthlessly beat her while she screamed. Realistically, because of course it is. Sound that can't be made on an 8-bit console. Blood, sweat, and showered with each of Mario made the last time he hit her, which was charged up for a head and roll off. Mario threw off his toad head and replaced it with Birdo's. Another text box appeared. But you were one of us. You angered us. You will rue this, Mario. The sky turned red. I heard what sounded like distant crying of a woman in the background, accompanied by what sounded like multiple evil laughs in the background all at once. A demonic deep voice was heard behind it all. Chills weren't just on my spine, they were everywhere. The whole room got colder. It seemed like I had goosebumps all over. The sound grew louder, but before suddenly stopping, Mario's Birdo head flew off. He still lived headless. He turned to the screen and began to softly sob. I wanted to turn the NES so badly, but something compelled me to leave it on. Oh my god, you're an idiot. His cry grew louder. As he cried, an army of toads began to march from the left of the screen. The noises from earlier resumed. This time they were loud, and the woman screaming instead of crying. I'm pretty sure my TV speakers were about to bust. Only it sounded like the sounds weren't coming from the speakers. It's like they were coming from all around me. The laughter and deep voice stopped. However, the woman's screams began to show. It was almost like she was being violently tortured, and it was stroked more and more as it went on for a minute and a half before suddenly stopping. I listened to the deep voice came back. I was listening slowly, hearing to what it was saying. The Empire will rise. The Empire will rise? Do you mean the Empire Strikes Back? I'm very sorry. The picture blacked out. It was replaced with an artist-like picture of headless Mario. His clothes were bloody and some parts were torn off. The picture stayed on the screen for about 30 seconds before the screen began to blink white repeatedly. The woman's scream came back along with the laughter. The laughter was mixed with people chanting, "The Empire! The Empire!" I fainted from fear. I then had a very strange dream. I was lying on the ground and on my own blood. I saw Mario coming. He was walking towards me and with an angry look Toadhead like before. I kept trying to tell him that I wasn't his enemy, but I was too weak to talk. I told he wasn't who he thought I was. Bad grammar, I missed you. Then I realized I was Birdo. He jumped on me, just like in the game. I woke up before it started to attack. Mario was carved on my arm. I ejected the game from the NES, grabbed it, and threw it in the street, and ran over it with my car multiple times until it was nothing but pieces of plastic. I now understand why my brother killed himself, unless he didn't do it. Whatever was in that game, but have done it itself. I hope that I'll be alright, although I think I messed up running over that game. And that was Mario 2. Why do I even bother at this point? point. Our next story is called Kara's Unreawakening. It was around 5 in the afternoon when the doorbell rang. I didn't really know who it could be, so I just looked at the door with my peephole. My friend James was standing there with tear marks on his face. I opened the door and greeted him and seemed a little shaken up, and it wasn't too much up in conversation. I took the package he left, and I went inside and opened it, and turns out he'd given me a Wii U copy of Undertale. Does that even exist? And if it does, and people say the Wii U is bad? It looked pretty much standard, but I knew that there were no console ports of the game. Ahem. I half expected to wake up and reflect on a really weird and boring dream, much like this story. But I didn't. This was real. Yeah, sure it is. I didn't really care much. Still, Undertale was a fairly good game, so I put it in my Nintendo NX. Then my pug on me. He works for Nintendo, you see. Oh, of course he does. I'm sure he does. And play it. I was more than surprised to see that James said I would start up the game. I didn't know how it could possibly be transferred onto a console through a red-only game disc, but I decided to go with it because this is a troll pasta with no coherent setup, so this is no reason to bother question anything. Wow, he just described literally every creepypasta I'm reading. This safe is as being the final corridor, and the only character on the title screen was Folly. Having played the game on my PC, I know that James has nearly completed the genocide route, because of course he does. I loaded the save file and walked forward. Sans appeared as expected. Hey, you've been busy, huh? Say, I got a question for you. Do you think that good can come of what you've done? The reawakening of Kara has given me immense power. We're about to witness this world's true form. Suddenly, a familiar voice boomed through my TV speakers, singing spooky, scary skeletons, sending shivers down your spine. Shrieking skeleton will shock your soul and seal your doom tonight. The volume got louder and louder, while ornaments in my room were shattered. The TV was as cracked and shards with beer inside. Suddenly the TV stopped breaking despite the music continuing. On the screen were 3 simple words. 3 words I see many times playing the pressures were over and over on my PC. But it refused. The game returned, and I knew that the only way to shut it off would be to complete the game. I picked up the Wii U game and in time for the sand fight. GIF animations started flying about the screen and I hastily dodged them. Suddenly the music stopped. Scenes appeared again and a new song started up again. Why is James crying? Cause he just got dunked on. I ain't even lying. Yo, he just got dunked on. Yeah, he was standing in the way, so I dunked it. Then I dunked his face. Why is James crying? Cause he just got dunked on. Suddenly the TV shut off. Happy Halloween, everyone!